Hey guys, it's Becca Gamer or Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel, my lovelies. I hope you're having an amazing day today, and if you're new to my channel, hi, thank you for stopping by. Let's get into this video. I have my handy dandy Karasno High journal today, so you know I mean business. I have the Tbr Book Tag written down here. I have seen Books and Lala do this video, but the original tag is from a Perfection Called Books blog. I'm pretty sure you have to like be a member or something to see parts of the blog. But that is who created this tag here. There are 12 questions, and I'm going to go over all of those today. Different questions about my TBR, my experience with my TBR, and what it's going to look like. I will have all of the questions in the description, as well as links to the blog and Books and Lala's video. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first question is, how do you keep track of your TBR pile? So all of my books on my physical TBR are on the shelf here. And then I also have my questionable TBR back here, which I've done a video on. I will leave it linked up in the eye. Basically, it's a 30, but now it's 28 books that I have bought for questionable reasons. And I'm trying to tackle those specifically. And then this shelf over here is just all of my red books. I also have a TBR cart, which is all of the books that are the first in a series. I want to stay away from series until I get my TBR down because I have way too much on my TBR, okay? And reading first books in series is not going to help me because if I like the series, I am going to continue in it, therefore buy more books, and that's not what we want to do. A good little tidbit I gave myself is that if I own the series, I'm not going to make myself not read it. Like, if I own it, that's fine, because then I can just read it and get more books off my TBR. So my TBR shelves are in order by year. For example, this first cube are all books that I've had since 2020. Next to it, 2021, 2022, and so on. So I can keep track of how long I've had a book on my TBR, and if like girl, you've had it for this long, it's time to read it kind of thing. I also use Goodreads. Here is my username on the screen if you haven't checked me out there already. I do reviews and stuff like that there, and I also have different lists. So I have my physical TBR list, I have my library TBR, which are books that I don't necessarily feel like I'm fully convinced that I will like, but I still want to read, and they are available at my local library. So whenever I'm taking a trip to the library, I look at that TBR. I also keep track of my honorable mentions, I keep track of my favorites, so you can go check out my Goodreads and see all of the different lists that I have. The second question is your TBR mostly print or ebook? My whole entire TBR is print. I don't do ebooks. Reading on screens makes me sleepy. The only time I did that was when I was young and I was on Wattpad, okay? I don't do audiobooks because my mind goes everywhere and it's really hard for me to focus on audiobooks, and I love having the physical book, like being able to turn the pages and just to gradually see how much farther I'm getting in the book is so rewarding, and I love it. The third question is, how do you determine which book to read next? I am a mood reader, which I don't like saying too often because a lot of people will associate that with, I start a book because I want to read it, kind of don't want to read it anymore, so I'll start another one, maybe pick that one up later, maybe start another book. I am not that kind of person. I read one book at a time. I just, whatever I'm in the mood for. My favorite genre is mystery thriller, but I'm not always in the mood for a mystery thriller. Sometimes I want to read a contemporary about mental health. Sometimes I want to read about queer stuff. Sometimes I want to read about mental health, mysteries, and queerness combined, you know? So I really just go off of my mood, and then when I can't decide, I will do something logical, whether it be like, okay, well, I haven't, tried to read this book and it's been on my TBR for this amount of time, so let me try it. the TBR jar, I'm doing a video, a reading vlog, anything like that, that'll steer me if I don't have a specific mood for something. Going on to the next question, question number 4 is a book that's been on your TBR the longest. Now, that book is in my closet. Actually, the whole entire TBR cart is in my closet. Out of sight, out of mind. I might want to pick those up, but I can't. I have to leave them be. So I'm not even going to take them out for this video. Keeping the strong-mindedness going here. But the book is Delirium by Lauren Oliver. I have had that book on my TBR since February of 2021. That was back when I started reading again. I started reading late 2020. And so I was kind of just going with whatever was popular in YA, what I heard about. And that book is basically about a girl who lives in a society where you can get a surgery to where you will not fall in love, because falling in love, just in that society, it's just known to be a terrible idea, and a lot of people don't want to fall in love, so a lot of people do get that surgery. Pretty sure you make that decision when you're 18, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, the main character in this book ends up meeting a boy before she's like months before having to do this surgery and make the decision. And I always thought that was super intriguing. But like I said, I'm not starting series. I will one day, but not now. So it's just going to stay on my TBR for maybe another year or so. The next question, the 5th question, is which book has been most recently added to your TBR? Did I say that weird? So the last book that I've bought and put on my TBR is how I'm interpreting that question. And that is Medusa's Sisters by Lauren J.A. Baer. Now, like I said in my wrap-up, if you haven't checked out my May wrap-up, I will link that up in the eye. But I read Bittersweet in the Hollow by Kate Parashall. I loved it, gave it a high rating. So I went on Book Outlet and I ended up ordering the second book, which is Lies on the Serpent's Tongue. And I needed a second book to get free shipping because they were doing a $15 shipping deal. And so the second book I picked out was Medusa's Sisters. I absolutely love this spine. I've wanted to read this book for quite a while, and when I saw it on Book Outlet, it's such a pretty cover. I'm so excited to read this. Question number 6 is a book that you bought strictly because of the cover. Now, if you have watched my questionable TBR video, you know that that's a problem I have. I am a sucker for a beautiful cover. Now, it was kind of hard narrowing this down, but the book I chose was Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Emile Wen Zhao. This book is one of the prettiest books I've ever seen. I love it so much. The synopsis is really long. It's fantastical, high fantasy. I don't know if I'm actually going to enjoy this, but when I saw this cover, I couldn't get over it. I had to have it. I will read it one day, especially when I do a TBR jar pick, but the synopsis doesn't intrigue me too much, so we'll see how that goes. Question number 7 is kind of crazy, but a book on your TBR you never plan to read. Never is a strong word, but I honestly have a book that I never plan to read, but I'm going to keep forever, and that is Scorched by Mary Mancusi. Really cool dragon on the cover. I don't even remember what the synopsis says about this book. It's about Trinity, Connor, and Caleb, and Connor and Caleb are brothers, and she hears a voice, thinks she's going crazy, but something about a dragon egg. This book used to belong to my late best friend, Angel, but when she passed away, her mother gave me some of her things, and this was included in that. So, do I want to read this? Yes, only because my best friend owned it, and she was the type to read a book more than once, especially if she owned it. So she's probably read this maybe even multiple times, and I want to read it, but I don't want the chance of reading it and like almost connecting with her in an odd grief way. I don't want that chance to ever go away, so I'll probably maybe not read this at some point. I don't think I can let it go. I always want the opportunity to be there. I don't want to do it and then it not be there anymore, if that makes any sense. Question number 8 is a unpublished book that you're really excited for, and actually this book releases a few days after this video goes up. That is This Immortal Heart by Jennifer Saint. That is a book I really want to read because of the author. I have read Electra, Ariadne, Atalanta, and then I own Hera, and I just have to read it. And then This Immortal comes out on June 9th. So I will definitely be grabbing that. I don't know if I will grab it when it releases. I probably will make myself read Hera first, and then I will grab that one. But I have loved her Greek retelling, so I'm very excited to read that from her. This hair has been bothering me this whole entire time I've been filming, and I can't stop fidgeting with my hair because I want it to go away. Now, believe it or not, this video is about my whole entire TBR. It's just the answers to these questions happen to be the ones off of my physical TBR. But like I said, I do have a library TBR, which are all the books I want to check out at the library at some point. And then I just have a do not own TBR, which is, it's about 110 books are on there, I believe. So there's quite a few books that I'm interested in that are on my radar. I just haven't picked up yet because I can't buy books constantly. So the next question, question number 9, a book everyone has read but me. So I used my handy dandy Goodreads and I looked at how many readers each book out of all of my books, physical, do not own, library, and I figured out which one. Can you guess? Can you guess? As someone who loves dragons, can you guess? Yes, it is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. When I looked this up, it had 3.6 million readers, which is insane. I'm not a high fantasy kind of gal, but everyone rips and raves about Fourth Wing, so I have to get my hands on it at some point. I just have to. As a dragon girly, as a girl with a back tattoo, you can see him just a little bit, the top of his wings there. I have a big dragon tattoo on my back. I got to read it. The book on my physical TBR, which I did not grab, is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. That has 3.4 million readers, so that's my physical TBR answer. Speaking of dragons, question number 10 is a book everyone has recommended to you, and for me, that is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. As I said, I have a dragon tattoo on my back, so people recommend this to me, and also because I really like mystery, and this is just overall a very, very popular book. I was recommended this before I got my dragon tattoo, so recommended to me directly, definitely The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, but I would also say Aragon. That one has always been recommended to me when I say that I've liked Percy Jackson and I also love dragons. So I do have Aragon, I have it physically, but it's in the closet. Question number 11 is a book that you are dying to read. And I already knew what I was going to say the moment I heard this question. That is Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman. This is a thick book. I've had this book on my TBR since 2021, and I absolutely love the cover. The main character, who is Tess, of course, she's a rebel, maybe done some disgraceful things that she doesn't want to talk about, a past that she has, and she is on a journey. She was supposed to join nuns, and then she chooses a different path for herself that I assume includes dragons. And I've actually tried to read this book this year, but within reading the first 5 pages, Seraphina is brought up a million times in it. There are 2 books that technically come before this. It's placed years before, and some people say you can read this on its own, but the fact that the character of the first 2 books is mentioned 5 million times in the first 5 pages, I feel like it's more beneficial. So I did get Seraphina and Shadow Scale. Those are the 2 books that come before this one. I am going to read those, and then I will finally be able to read Tess of the Road. And the 12th question, the last question, is some stats. How many books are on your TBR shelf? So physically, on this shelf back here behind me, I have 138 books. That's already plenty. But to count my questionable TBR over here, which is 28 books, that is a grand total of 166 physical books. Absolutely insane. I do not need that many books, but I love buying books. I love reading books, but buying books is a whole separate hobby. And it's nice having a TBR. Some days it's really nice having multiple options, but most days it's very overwhelming for me to deal with the bunches and bunches of options that I have. So my goal is to get my TBR down to 120, because then I can actually fit my whole TBR on one shelf. That does not include my questionable TBR. My questionable TBR, it will stay separate. But I'm trying to get that 138 number down to 120. Can I read 18 more books this year? Very doubtful, but I feel like that's a goal I can definitely hit sometime next year. Now, you can go on my Goodreads if you want to see what books these are specifically, but on my do not own TBR, I have 110. So that's 110 books that I have heard about that I want to purchase one day, get my hands on, and be able to read, that I am interested in. And then my library TBR actually has 68 books on it, which is a pretty high number, higher than I would have expected, honestly. But it's just a bunch of books that I want to try out that, you know, like I said, I'm not fully convinced that I will like, or there's something about them that I do think I will enjoy, but there's another element that I'm just like, ooh, trust issues. I don't know if I'm gonna like that. So if you guys want, I can do a reading vlog about some of those library picks. I can get 2 or 3 and do a reading vlog and see how they go. Let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. I appreciate it so much. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. Bye! Farther than Mexico. You still got niggas hard pressed to you though. I know you, shorty.